Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, and welcome to part 2 of my binge review of the Pokemon anime with Season 14. This video we're going to be going through episodes 11 through 20. And yeah, let's get right to it. Okay, so we have episode 11, A Home for Dwebble. So yeah, the team comes across a Dwebble making its home out of a rock, basically a shell that it's going to use. And then 3 other Dwebbles come and actually take the home, the rock. And basically that's kind of the whole episode is the team helping Dwebble to get its house back. And yeah, that's kind of it. I don't know how much I can really say about it, but meanwhile, while this is happening, Team Rocket gets another assignment from Pierce, once again, voiced by the great Dan Green. Just straight up doing the Pharaoh's voice. Anyway, so Team Rocket investigates, or breaks into a facility. Oh, excuse me. And so they break into a facility and hack it to get some information. And sure enough, they get the information back to Pierce, who's going to take it back to headquarters. And that's pretty much their storyline. Again, interesting stuff with Team Rocket. They're doing the whole, they're doing heists and espionage and stuff like that. They're apparently so good that occasionally they'll just disappear or appear out of nowhere. I don't even know. I didn't think that Team Rocket was that good, but apparently they are. So yeah, they're doing that while Ash and the gang are helping Dwebble. And I don't know if there's a whole lot to say about it. Basically, at the end of the episode, Silent catches the Dwebble that they held because they really formed a bond while they did that. For some reason my nose is a little runny today, excuse me. I don't know what is happening there, but anyway. So yeah, they form a bit of a bond, and Dwebble was also concerned when Pansage got a fever, and Pansage was helping out with, digging around underground and stuff, so yeah, Silent gets a new Pokemon at the end of this, which is good. It's like I said, it was strange that Silent only had one Pokemon. Excuse me. I hope I'm not getting sick, jeez. It was weird that Silent only had one Pokemon, but now we have 2. And so it'll be interesting to see where it goes from there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Not a lot else to say about this one. Pretty simple, pretty good episode. So, I will see you at episode 12. Excuse me, episode 12. Okay, so we have episode 12, Here Comes the Trubbish Squad. Cute little episode we got here. Basically, the gang runs into these kindergartners that are running around attacking people, and they're on tricycles. And one of the tricycles has a wagon attached to it, which is carrying a Trubbish. And the school teacher comes up, Miss Daniela, and she's like, I'm sorry, they found this Trubbish and wanted to keep it, but I didn't want to keep it. They got mad, I got mad, and now they're just being very rebellious. And they set up basically a treehouse in, I guess the playground at this kindergarten. And they will not get rid of the Trubbish, no matter what. So Ash goes in to the treehouse and talks to them, and basically kind of joins their side, kind of agrees with them that Trubbish should be kept. No one really sides with Daniela in this, and I kind of don't like that. I kind of don't... Well, first off, she really doesn't have... she's not really good with classroom management, apparently, if her kindergartners are rebelling against her like this. Excuse me. So yeah, she's not really good with classroom management, first of all. But the thing is, her side is not, like, unreasonable or anything. Like, hang on, I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. Cool. She's not being unreasonable, I don't think. Because what they show is that, because it's not just that they build a treehouse in the playground, but there's also a giant ring of just garbage around the treehouse. And so yeah, and they do that because Trubbish loves garbage. So they want to keep Trubbish and all the garbage there. And Daniela pretty, like, justifiably does not want that, like, at all. But they kind of paint her to be the villain. They kind of paint her to be the villain in all this, that she's being completely unreasonable and the kids are completely justified. Sorry. All right. I'm going to try to stop coughing in this. But no, I don't see it that way at all. I don't really want to say that the kids are, like, completely, like... I don't want to say that the kids are really the villains of this, but there's evil on both sides. I hate that I even have to reference that. Sorry, clock. Anyway, yeah, I don't think anyone is really in the right or in the wrong in this. I feel like there are arguments to both sides. You know, the kids, they found this Pokemon, they want to take care of this Pokemon, and their teacher won't let them. They get angry. Okay, they're kindergartners. You know, they're younger than Ash, and Ash is 10. And then on the other side is the teacher who does not want this literal garbage Pokemon with all this garbage. If it was just a Pokemon, that probably wouldn't matter. It's the fact that it's a Trubbish that makes it a problem, and it's actually understandable. Because, you know, if they had found a Snivy or a Squirtle or even the Sandile comes back from a couple episodes back, and it's specifically the same one with the sunglasses. He comes in for a fight and then leaves. He really did not serve a purpose to the plot, but anyway. But yeah, it's very understandable why this teacher doesn't want Trubbish to be around, but the episode kind of paints her to be the villain, and I didn't like that. Again, I think it should be more half and half. You understand it. The fact that Ash easily took the kid's side, I don't think that's right. I think Ash should have been sort of the negotiator. Okay, this probably isn't catching on the microphone at all, but there are sounds outside. It sounds like someone's banging a pot with a wooden spoon outside. And you probably can't hear that, so I just wasted everyone's time. Yeah. So, at the end of the episode, they kind of both apologize, which is good. You know, Daniela apologizes for not really listening to them or not trying to find a way to let Trubbish stay there. And the kids are sorry for causing so much trouble with Trubbish. That's good. I feel like the ending was good. It's what led up to that. The episode that led up to that ending did not work as well. Because they kind of demonize Daniela a little much. And with Ash taking the kid's side just straight up. I didn't like that. But overall, it was still a good episode. Just probably not one of the better episodes. And the big takeaway from this, because obviously this is a filler episode, I mean, they say that in the future Ash is going to come back and they're going to have a battle with the kids, but I kind of doubt that they're ever going to come back. But who knows? I mean, Sandile came back, and I wouldn't have thought that Sandile would come back. So yeah, I suppose it's entirely possible. Yeah, other than that, there's really nothing else. Oh, almost forgot about this. Another big takeaway is that Daniela's grandmother, who runs the daycare part of the facility, gave Ash a Pokemon egg, and she said, I'm not going to tell you what Pokemon it is, you're going to have to find out when it hatches. So that'll be really interesting to see what Ash gets, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Other than that, there was a little scene of Team Rocket, nothing much this episode. They just kind of got they got a new rock, they got like a rock from headquarters, and they're going to get some more information and a new mission from it later. And the guy that delivered it to them was like, you should probably know that the boss has been speaking very highly of you guys since you came to Unova. And I really like that. I like where Team Rocket is going now. Like, they had a little... I don't want to say they had like a rough start this season, but I mean, you remember back at the beginning of the season when I was like, I hate that they're just trying to capture Pikachu again. But luckily they're not doing that anymore. They haven't done that for like, not 10 episodes, maybe like 7 episodes probably. So yeah, interested to see where they go, and interested to see where the next episode goes. We should be coming up on a gym badge pretty soon, but who knows? I don't know how many gym badges they're going to get through in this season, because it's 50 episodes, and in 12 episodes he's only gotten 1, so I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, that is pretty much it. I will see you guys at episode 13. Okay, so we have episode 13 of season 14. We have Minccino, Neat and Tidy. Interesting episode, kind of. So, at the beginning of this episode, the gang is just kind of chilling out on their way to Nacarene City, and this girl comes up. Her name is Bianca. She's from the game Black and White, the games Black and White, and she's like a helper for Professor Juniper, and Professor Juniper realized that she never gave Ash a badge case for all his gym badges, so she sends Bianca to find Ash and give him the badge case, but the badge case is really dirty from being in a bunch of clutter in her purse. So a Minccino steals a wild Minccino steals the badge case because it wants to clean it. And so now the whole episode is basically trying to catch Minccino and get the badge case back. Excuse me. For some reason my voice is really weird right now. Also, just as a quick side note, I just found out, because I was listening to, obviously I was watching this episode, and I kept listening to Bianca's voice, and I was like, that sounds familiar. So I looked it up, and Bianca is played by Erica Schroeder, who actually played Akiza in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. That's kind of the most notable role I found on here. I mean, she has done other Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff. My Valentine and Dark Magician Girl in Season 4 of Yu-Gi-Oh! But most notably from what I see is Akiza from 5Ds. Anyway, so that's kind of cool. So Bianca, she's very strange, I guess. She's very excitable, very, I guess, kind of hyper, and a bit clumsy, and I don't know if I really like her. She kind of got a little annoying. I will say this is a great episode for Ash, actually, because Ash really, throughout this entire episode, Ash is really, like, he gets good, basically, like, because the whole thing is, Bianca now wants to actually catch Minccino as a Pokemon, but the thing is, she is not a good trainer, And so Ash actually does it for her, basically. And Ash, no one else really goes against Minccino, and no one like strategizes how do we beat this thing. Ash kind of figures it out all by himself, and even Pikachu, I will say, this is a great episode for Pikachu, because Pikachu comes in and he's starting to really, I don't want to say get good, because, you know, it's season 14, this Pokemon should be good by now, but they come out on top. They're definitely, I guess, the MVPs of this episode, which you would think would be weird because the show is about them, but, you know, they're the main characters, basically, but yeah, it was refreshing, basically, to see Ash and Pikachu really do well in this. Other than that, we had a quick clip of Team Rocket. They are in Nacarene City already, and they're getting a new assignment from Team Rocket. And I do have a question. On their screens, is that actual Japanese writing? Because they don't, like, translate it to English or anything. And I can't tell if that's actually Japanese, because it definitely looks like Japanese. It looks like a, I don't know. They look like Japanese symbols, but they also look a little bit different from Japanese symbols I've seen. And granted, that's not a lot, so this is kind of why I'm asking. And they seem to be different, so I don't know if it's actually Japanese and you know, and that's it. It's just Japanese. Or if it's a specific Pokemon version of Japanese, maybe. Frank Clock. Anyway. So yeah, that's just a quick question. So yeah. Also, at the end of this episode, Ash and Bianca have a one-on-one fight with Bianca using this is a Japanese description. But basically, the evolved form of Tepeg, I don't really know what it's called, and Ash's Pikachu, and this is, the thing is, they kind of say something like, I don't remember who says it, I think it's Iris, but I don't remember who exactly, but they say, well, can Ash really win? I mean, Bianca has 2 badges and Ash only has 1. That kind of gets under my skin a little bit, because, you know, they've mentioned this is right at the beginning of Bianca's Pokemon journey, and it bugs me when they say something like that, because Ash has been to 4 other regions and taken on those Pokemon leagues. 5 if you count the Orange Islands, which you should count the Orange Islands. So yeah, it's like, why would Ash not be able to win? It's like, oh, well, Bianca has 1 more Unova badge. Like, yeah, he's got like a ton of badges. Come on. He won the Orange Islands League. I know that. It's the only league he's actually won, is the Orange Islands. So that kind of bugs me, and this is actually the first episode where I really wish I was still doing the reactions. Because the entire, like, during that entire fight, I'm just like, come on, Pikachu, come on, fuck him up, come on! Anyway, whatever, PG-13, anyway. But yeah, that entire time I was just like, come on, you can do this, beat her, kick ass, come on! It's like that scene in Pacific Rim, it's like, come on, Pikachu, kick its ass! That was me through that, so that's kind of one of the points where I was like, darn it, I wish I could have done a reaction to that, but yeah, that is pretty much it. Oh yeah, and Ash won at the end of the battle, so yay. So yeah, I'm not sure if I really like, I don't think I really like Bianca right now. Maybe she'll come back and get better, but in this opening episode, I'm not really impressed with the character, but great episode for Ash, I will say that. So yeah, that is pretty much it for this episode. I will see you guys at episode 14. Okay, so we're in a bit of a different location. Yeah, so you might be wondering what we're doing outside. Well, Darby wanted me to come outside, so I figured, why not? So, I'm outside. Hello. Am I in shot? I can't tell. It's hard to see on this phone outside. Anywho, so, we have episode 14. I believe, is that what we're on? Episode 14 of season 14? This is a night in the Nacarene City Museum. And I'm just gonna say, right off the bat, my favorite episode so far. This one is really interesting. Alright, this is weird, first of all. This sort of camera angle is weird. I really cannot see myself, so I'm not sure what I look like in the shot, so this is weird. Plus, I'm outside. No one films stuff outside, but it's the middle of the day. I don't care. People are either at work or at school, so you get to hear the sounds of the birds, though. And if Darby starts barking. Anyway. So right off the bat, this is my favorite episode so far. I really enjoyed this episode. So the gang gets to Nacarene City, and they immediately, Ash wants to go challenge the gym leader. So they go to the Nacarene City Gym, which is also the Nacarene City Museum. And when they do, one of the, I guess the curator there, he comes running out of the museum, and they ask, what's up? And basically he says that the museum is haunted. And so the gang decides that they want to help this guy, and hopefully there's no, like, sound of wind. There's the faintest breeze right now, so hopefully it doesn't... I don't know where the microphone is on this camera, actually. So, sorry if this sounds horrible. I probably won't do many videos outside again, but... Anyway. Looks like Darby's on the trail of something. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, so the gang decides to help them. Something that goes on throughout this entire episode is that Iris just believes that the place is haunted, just straight up. That it's some sort of spirit. Cylon actually takes on the role of the skeptic in this episode, and keeps saying... So yeah, Cylon takes on the role of the skeptic in this episode, which is weird. And... just because, you know, he keeps mentioning throughout this episode, science. You know, he wants to try to explain this whole haunting with science, that it's not a haunting at all, and he will talk about, like, the scientific method and stuff. Which is strange, because we really have not gotten anything science-y, I guess, from Cylon. That's kind of the only weird, maybe not good thing about this episode. Didn't get anywhere, boy? Hey, leave that alone. He's sniffing the tripod. Anyway. So yeah, that's kind of the only weird thing about this episode, I guess. But, so they spend the night at the museum. Night at the museum. It's probably where the title of this episode came from. You still going? Yep, good. And we get a little bit, like the curator, I think his name was Hans, he kind of shows them around the museum. Which is kind of cool. We get some lore about the Pokemon world. Yeah, we get some stuff about a Pokemon called Yamask. We see some stuff about fossils, and there are like these suits of armor, like medieval suits of armor, and they say like these were used in Unova thousands of years ago. It's like, really? Kind of wish there was a bit more lore in this, a bit more of the history, but that's just me. I'm a history guy. I love history, so that's cool. We get sort of an... They don't come out and say ancient Egyptian exhibit, but there's a Cophagrius, I think, which is a sarcophagus Pokemon. And so the origins are very Egyptian, but they never say that. So it's interesting. I wonder if anyone's created like a history book of Pokemon. Anyway. But yeah, then the place starts being haunted again. And now here's another thing about this episode. I'm giving criticisms of this episode, but I still love this episode. Another thing, no one takes into account that ghost Pokemon exist. Like, no one brings that up. Because, Hans and Iris, believe that this place is haunted by a spirit. And Silent's like, no, there's no way spirits don't exist and stuff. But it's like, there are ghost-type Pokemon. Those do exist in this world. Why is that never brought up? You'd think if anyone Silent would bring that up, or maybe Ash could bring that up. But, anyway. So yeah, that's just another minor gripe about that. Meanwhile, during this, Team Rocket meets up with Pierce, and they basically they get a new mission where they need to steal a meteorite from the museum. And the thing is, what I thought was going to happen in this episode was that the haunting was a setup by Team Rocket so that everyone in there would be distracted while they stole the meteorite. But nope, that's not the case. It is a straight-up haunting by Yamask, I believe is the name of the Pokemon. And it's interesting when Yamask shows up, actually possesses Silent for a second, which is interesting. I didn't know they could do that, but it does, so yeah. And then they pretty much figure out, the gym leader, Lenora, comes in and... Are we still going? Yep, alright, cool. Lenora comes in and realizes the problem is that, because Hans thought the mask was a replica, and just figured it was part of the order they got from another museum, was just a replica of a Yamask mask. So he didn't think anything of it, and he just put it in with the other stuff. But it's an authentic mask, and Yamask is now haunting this place to get its mask back, basically. So Lenora figures that out. There's really not a Pokemon battle at the end, I guess. They just sort of apologize, and Yamask forgives them. And then pretty much all's well that ends well. Yamask leaves, and everything's good. And next episode is going to be a gym battle with Lenora. And there's a plane flying overhead. So, yeah, honestly, my favorite episode so far. This was fun. It was different. It had its problems, but I really like this episode. So, that is basically it. I will see you guys at the next one. Okay, so we have episode 15, The Battle According to Lenora. In this episode, Ash challenges Lenora of the Nacarene City Gym and pretty much gets his ass handed to him. Yeah, it's a 2-on-2 battle. Lenora uses normal-type Pokemon, and there's an interesting... She says something interesting about her normal-type Pokemon, is that they're not restricted by one of the elemental types. Which normally, hey. Now granted, I'm not a huge Pokemon player. I play the games and stuff, and I like them. But, I don't know everything about the Pokemon games. I'm not a huge, I'm not huge into competitive Pokemon or anything. But, I mean, I don't know. Is normal type that viable? Because in this, especially, she makes it a point to show that the normal type Pokemon are pretty powerful. Because it's not just, that they just have normal moves, because they have Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, so yeah, that was an interesting line that they said. One thing I'd like to say right off the bat, we've been going for like 2 minutes now, but one thing I'd like to say that's kind of starting to bug me is that when they arrive there, they go to like a special part of the library at the museum, at the Nacarene Gym, and Silent finds a bunch of Pokemon Connoisseur books, and Lenora says, yes, Pokemon connoisseurs got their start in Unova. So, if you're an aspiring connoisseur, you should definitely read those books. Here's my thing, though. Does no one recognize Silent? Like, anyone? Not even Lenora. It's like, no one recognizes him as a gym leader. Now, I don't know... I don't remember if Brock and Misty were ever recognized as gym leaders. I don't know. I kind of think they would, though. At the very least, you would think, like, when they introduced Misty, or, well, I don't know. Maybe they would... You would think someone would recognize them as one of the 8 gym leaders. But Silent is not recognized by anyone. Not even another gym leader. Like, I don't know why. I just kind of feel like all the gym leaders would know each other. And, well, I don't know. It's a big region. If you don't really get out of town that often... I don't know. Maybe that's just... I don't know. But it was just a thing that I thought of. So yeah, Ash ends up losing the Pokemon battle. I almost said lose the duel, but no, we're not watching Yu-Gi-Oh! So he loses his battle. And... because basically, he starts with Tepeg, and immediately Lenora's Lillipup uses Roar and sends Tepeg back into its Pokeball and drags out Oshawott instead. Now, here's the thing, is that kind of works in the game, because, you know, it's just Roar, and it just switches out your Pokemon. Here, it's really strange, actually, to see this move be used, because it doesn't just Roar and maybe kind of confuse Tepeg to where Ash has to bring out Oshawott instead, but it roars at Tepeg, which turns Tepeg back into whatever the digital beam that the Pokeballs use, and puts it right back in its Pokeball, and then drags Oshawott out of its Pokeball. That's the other thing, is it doesn't just put Tepeg back, it brings Oshawott out. That is really weird to see. But yeah. So basically at the end of the episode, Ash goes to another battle club with another Don George. And in the next episode, he's going to train a lot to fight Lenora again. And that's kind of it. Other than that, Team Rocket has a small clip where they do some Mission Impossible stuff, which is always fun. And I guess one other thing I could talk about is before the gym battle starts, and they go to like the secret part of the library, the private part of the library, basically. 1 second. So when they go to, I guess, the private section of the library, basically, Lenora says, maybe you should study up on Unova before we get started. Hey, why don't you take a look at this book right here? And eventually Ash is like, okay, fine, I want to do a gym battle, but if you want me to study, I'll study. All right, so it's this book, and he takes it, which opens the passage, you know, Batman style. The bookcase moves, and there's the passage to the arena. And it's really interesting that she says most people that challenge her gym don't immediately go for that book. Even though she points it out directly, they go for the book that they're most interested in and assume that they need to read a book in order to get a gym badge, or to get a gym battle, really. So that was kind of interesting. It really doesn't say anything. Like, I don't want to say that there's no purpose to it, but I mean, there kind of isn't. So, but yeah, that is basically all for episode 15, and I will see you guys at episode 16. Okay, so we have episode, I think we're on 16, and I think it's called Rematch at the Nacarene Gym. So this episode is pretty basic, I would say. There's some training at the Pokemon Battle Club, which can be kind of cool. And there's a rematch with Lenora, and Ash ends up winning in the end. That's really it. There's literally nothing else in this episode, and there's really not much else I can talk about. I feel like everything that I wanted to say about Lenora, I already said in the last episode. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is a really short review, but there's really nothing else I can say. So, yeah, on to the next one. Sorry. Okay, bit of a different angle here. I explained this in one of my Doctor Who reactions, but my tripod broke, so I'm just holding the camera with my hand. I'm going to make this pretty quick, but yeah, just wanted to explain why the camera is shaky like this, so and I won't do that. So, yeah, we have this episode, episode 17, Scraggy Hatched to be Wild. It's a nice reference there. So, not really a whole lot in this episode. Ash's egg finally hatches, and it's a Scraggy. And this Scraggy is very temperamental, he doesn't really get along with others at first, and he ends up getting himself in a lot of trouble with wild Pokemon. And in this episode, he basically learns that he needs to get along. These people are here to be his friends. Yeah, so that's basically it. There's really nothing else to this episode, honestly, and I hate to make this really short, but there's just really nothing here. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it's a very basic plot, which is just resolved. I would say, honestly, this is just a filler episode. The only thing that was kind of interesting is, again, the Team Rocket clip, where it's like, they meet up with Pierce, and Pierce introduces them to a Team Rocket researcher, and he starts examining the meteorite they stole, and there's like some weird reaction with the meteorite, so they're moving on to their next mission so that they can get more information. Really, the only interesting thing here, I would say, yeah, just because I'm curious where they're going with this. You know, I guess it's just that, you know, now that it's the difference between me watching this at my age of 20 versus if I had watched this when I was a kid. You know, I would have thought this would be just a fun episode, and it was fun. But I probably would have liked it a lot more as a kid. Whereas now that I'm older, I'm much more interested in all the spy, espionage, heist stuff. It's like, Team Rocket has been really fascinating me. Since they kind of stopped doing the, well, let's just catch Pikachu thing. It's like, that was stupid. But that was over in a couple episodes. And now, we've had a lot of episodes where Team Rocket has been pretty cool and pretty awesome, and I'm very curious to see where they're going to go from there. So, yeah, that is basically it for this episode. I will see you guys in the next one. Oh, also, I guess I should mention this. You may have noticed this has taken a little longer to get this video out than maybe you would have expected. That's because it's been about 2 weeks since I watched the last episode, if I could speak, jeez. Yeah, it's been about 2 weeks since I watched the last episode. No real reason, I just was very lazy. Well, okay, I've been doing other things, and as crazy as this is, sometimes there's not enough time to watch a show and eat lunch, because, I eat lunch while I watch Pokemon, and then I have to do maybe a maximum 10-minute clip. A lot of times I don't have time to do the clip, so I just kind of skip watching Pokemon. Hopefully, I'm going to try to get back into this a bit better, but yeah, that just happens. Life gets in the way. So, anyway, on to the next episode. Okay, so we have episode 18? Yeah, 18. Sewaddle and Burgh in Pinwheel Forest. Excuse me, I'm going to try to keep this a bit further back from me. Also, still, sorry, I still don't have a tripod yet. So I bet I probably won't have a tripod for the rest of this video. But hopefully starting next video, we'll have a tripod and I won't have to do this again. But, okay, so Sewaddle and Burgh in Pinwheel Forest. So in this episode, Ash and the gang are trying to go through Pinwheel Forest. They end up getting lost, but they find a guy in the forest named Burgh. He turns out to actually be the third gym leader in Castelia City. And this is the only instance where Silent actually recognizes one of the gym leaders. Because I don't know if I actually said this. I'm pretty sure I did, but I'm not quite sure if I said this in my previous in these previous reviews. But one thing that kind of not really bothered me, but just kind of weird, is that none of the gym leaders ever recognize each other so far. Like, Silent didn't recognize Lenora, and Lenora didn't recognize Silent, for that matter. So, it's interesting, and Silent is never recognized. No matter where he goes, he's not recognized as being a gym leader, and he never introduces himself as a gym leader anymore. So yeah. So this is kind of the first time where he recognizes someone else, at least. So that's kind of interesting. Basically, the whole plot of this episode is that Ash is trying to catch another Pokemon. Yeah. And this time it's a Sewaddle, and it's the normal, Sewaddle is a bit stubborn, doesn't really want to be caught. Ash ends up helping Sewaddle and then catches Sewaddle. That's it. Yeah, again, not a whole lot to say about this episode, and I do kind of feel bad when I don't talk too long about these episodes, because, this whole series is me just reviewing each episode, and when there's not a lot to talk about, I feel like I'm almost ripping you off. Like, what? You're only going to talk on here for like 30 seconds? What? But there is two things I want to talk about. First off is Burgh. He's very interesting. He's basically an artist, and he's trying to find inspiration in the forest. And that's why he's not at his gym in Castelia City. Excuse me. So, that's kind of interesting. He's basically he's kind of like a little bit of a cooler version of Tracy from old Pokemon. Tracy wasn't a gym leader, was he? Like in the Orange Islands? I don't think he was. Excuse me. Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh. Nose is acting up, I don't know why, but anyway. So yeah, he's kind of interesting, finding inspiration. He's not too in your face about it, like kind of at first, but not really, so that's good. It'll be interesting to see where we go from here with his character. The other thing is, at the end of the episode, when Ash does catch Sewaddle, his Pokeball shrinks and it locks, basically. And he can't use it, and he's like, well, that's weird, why can't I use it? And Silent points out that this is Ash's 7th Pokemon now, because he's caught 5 Pokemon already. So, Pidove, Oshawott, Tepeg, Snivy. Wait. Snivy. Yeah. And then, last episode we got, Scraggy. Why do I feel like there was one more? No, that was it. I don't know why I thought like there was one more, but, so he's caught 5 Pokemon so far, and he already started with Pikachu. So catching Sewaddle makes that his 7th Pokemon, and it's interesting to see that even in this world, you can't have more than 6 Pokemon at a time. And you basically have to transfer one to the PC. I'm curious as to which one he transferred. If I were to wager, I'd probably say Pidove because it's the one he's kind of used the least. But, yeah, so they didn't really say. I would wager that it's Pidove, but I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So it kind of does raise the question, it's like, why is this like a rule of Pokemon trainers? Like, is this like a law that was passed in the Pokemon world? Like, trainers shall not have more than 4 Pokemon, or else one of their Pokeballs will lock up. I don't know. So, yeah. So, that's pretty much it. Wish there was a bit more to talk about, but not really. No Team Rocket in this episode, which kind of sucks, but yeah. Still a good episode. I still really liked it, and let's move on to the next one.
Ah, Kirk, my old friend. Do you know the Klingon proverb that tells us revenge is a dish that is best served cold? It is very cold in space.
Okay, so we have episode, I think we're on 19 now? Yeah, 19. A Connoisseur's Revenge. So in this, we find a Pokemart just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's not like in a town or anything, so that's interesting. But they go in, and Silent points out that there's a Connoisseur shop in the Pokemart where trainers can get their Pokemon evaluated, basically. And he kind of goes into detail about a lot of, I don't want to say lore, because that sounds a little stupid, but a lot of details about being a Pokemon connoisseur, and it's really interesting, actually. And, like, he talks about the whole, the Pokemon Connoisseur Association. And so Ash goes to talk to one of the connoisseurs, but she says that Ash has a horrible relationship with all his Pokemon, and they're all horrible, and he needs to replace all of them if he's ever going to be the champion. And she's really mean, really rude, and eventually Silent comes in, and she recognizes him, and he recognizes her, and she basically says, like, you beat me at the Striaton Gym, and you insulted my Pokemon. Well, I'm getting revenge on you. And they have a Pokemon battle, and Silent wins. I was kind of, I knew this wouldn't really happen, but I was kind of hoping in the back of my head, like, maybe Silent would actually lose the battle, like, that would be the twist. Especially, now, the thing is, there was one point where she kind of raised the stakes of the battle. She was basically like, if you lose, then Ash has to replace all of his Pokemon. And so at that point I was like, well, okay, then obviously Silent is going to win. Because they're not going to do that. But I thought in the back of my head, like, oh, wouldn't that be an interesting twist? But they decided to play it the safe route, and it was fine. So Silent wins and says, basically, like, you have all the ingredients of being a great connoisseur, because a female connoisseur is a connoisseur. I don't know why you can't just say connoisseur, but whatever. So yeah, and he basically is like, one day you'll get there, but you really got to put in a lot of hard work and stuff. And she is basically like, whatever, I'll still get my revenge on you and be a better connoisseur, and she runs off. So she really doesn't learn the lesson, which I thought was interesting. And pretty much at the end of that, they're like, wow, she's really determined. It's like, well, let's be determined when we go to the Castelia Gym. And that's where the episode ends. This one, I'd say it's pretty interesting for, I guess, filler, honestly. It was interesting to kind of learn the ins and outs of a connoisseur, basically. Like, it's not just some weird term. Like, they really go over, like, hey, here's what connoisseurs do. Like, they evaluate Pokemon. Because they really hadn't explained that. Basically, all we had was what Silent was doing, and, like, pretty much all we knew was, well, he likes to study Pokemon and their trainers. But we really didn't know, like, what else he did as a connoisseur. So that was kind of interesting to get a little bit more information on this, but other than that, fun filler episode. Yeah, and that is pretty much it, so I will see you guys at episode 20. Okay, I got a tripod. Right at this last episode, my tripod came in, and it's not a full tripod, it's actually a tiny, basically like a desk tripod, because right now I realized I really don't need anything huge. I just need a little tripod to hold the camera, so that's what I have. And it's I mostly got it because it's going to be helpful. Well, first off, it's cheap, but it's going to help with Doctor Who reactions and Daggerfall stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, you don't care about that. We are on episode number 20, Dancing with the Ducklett Trio. This one, again, another kind of filler episode, I would say. So, basically, the Sandile from earlier in the season shows back up, and apparently it's been following Ash and the gang all this time because it wants to battle Pikachu, and which is kind of interesting. But before it can do that, 3 Duckletts come in and take the Sandile's sunglasses, Ash's hat, and one of Silen's, I guess, food cover things. And these Duckletts are really annoying. It's very strange. They're just very, very annoying. And I didn't really like them. They're not redeemed at the end, which is interesting. They're just kind of there, and they're a bit of a nuisance. And yeah, throughout this, basically what happens is that some stuff happens to Pikachu, like when the Duckletts throw some other things they stole at him. Like an umbrella closes over him while he does a thunderbolt. And basically what this results in is Pikachu learns, what is it, like Electro Ball? Don't you know I'm Electro Ball? Yeah, so he learns Electro Ball, which is kind of cool, and that's basically it. At the end, they have a battle with Sandile. Sandile actually evolves in the middle of it into, I don't know, the description has Japanese names for some reason, but anyway. So, yeah. So, it evolves. Pikachu still beats it, though, although they say it's a draw, even though Pikachu blasted it to Kingdom Come. Like, they do the whole thing where it launches into the sky and you just see the ding, like they used to do with Team Rocket. And yeah, they say it's a draw, but it's really not. Pikachu won, and they say, well, Pikachu has a new rival. It's like, okay, I guess that's a thing. And that is the episode. That's it. So yeah, not bad. It really, I don't think, served a purpose. Other than it was filler. That's pretty much it. It was filler. No Team Rocket in this. It's just one of those episodes where they do a thing, there's a little filler, and that's it. Happy ending. So, hopefully we get into some better episodes coming up. But yeah, that is basically it for this video. Thank you all for watching. I don't know when I'm going to get the next video up. I'm just kind of going at my own pace with these. So, yeah, I will see you guys later for episode 21. I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I'll see you guys then. Take care. Hey guys, if you like this video, then you should check out some of my other videos. Right here are all my reactions to Doctor Who. Right here is a Let's Play of The Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall, and I'm not even sure what this one is, but you should probably check it out too. And here you can subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.